Hello everyone, you're watching Addis Media Network, Addis TV. This is our weekly program, Diplomatic Corner. I'm right now sitting with the Pakistani ambassador to Ethiopia, Ambassador Shozab Abbas. We're going to talk about the relationship between the two countries and the trade and investment areas that the two countries can cooperate together. Stay with us. Welcome, Ambassador. I really appreciate your time for being all right with my request for interview. So how's life here in Ethiopia? Let's start with this.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Yunus, for giving me this opportunity to discuss few things with you and also to explain some of my personal views about the life here. First of all, I would say that Ethiopia is a beautiful country. The people living outside Ethiopia, they think that Ethiopia is a very desert country or is a dry country or is a country where people are, suffering, or many other kinds of negative impressions which they carry from, I think, very past, when there was a famine happened here in Ethiopia in 80s. So those impressions are still very deep in the memories of many people, and those who were kids at that time, now they are grown up. So they still believe that Ethiopia perhaps is a backward country or is a very deserted country. But fact is that this is not true. Ethiopia is a beautiful country. It is a green country. It has a variety of landscape. It's a high plateau where you feel that the temperature is always very normal and very, what you can say, very lively weather, and everybody would love to be in that weather. So the most celebrated thing here in Ethiopia, I would say, it's weather. I always enjoy whether it is raining or whether it is not raining. And the second is that people are very friendly. I have no complaint against any person here since I arrived. Very cordial, very friendly, very upcoming. And the government is also very active. They want to promote the image of your country among the nations. And they are doing a very good job, indeed. So I think that if you take everything together, the impression is a moderately good country, and where people are, interested to interact with others. But somehow, the one element that the country remained detached with outside world for quite longer period of time. This shortcoming in the socio-economic life of Ethiopia, I think, still carries a lot of weight. So the Ethiopian people and Ethiopian government should try to connect the people and the land of this country with others, so that people should know this beautiful country better than what they have thinking about Ethiopia in their minds, or images which they have created about Ethiopia. So second, I would also add here that many countries are subject to negative propaganda, and Ethiopia is one of them. So I think we need to work collectively to break this image.
How long has it been since you became ambassador in Ethiopia?
It's now more than 2.5 years.
2.5.
Yes.
Okay. I wonder if you tell me the feeling of the Pakistani people about Ethiopia.
Yeah, I explained it that to some extent that the people outside Ethiopia, the other foreigners, they don't know much about Ethiopia. This is the first impression. And the impression of Pakistanis is not different. But one important thing which Pakistanis did know in relation to its older name, which is called Habasha. So whenever you say is Habasha, they immediately connect Habasha with the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he sent his first contingent of companions to go to Habasha and take refuge in Habasha and stay there. So that event in the history of Islam is known as Hijrat-e-Habsha, or the migration to Habasha, which took place during the life of Prophet, peace be upon him. And a contingent of about 13 Muslims, companions of Prophet, in the leadership of Jafar-e-Tayyar, they came here, and Najashi, the King Najashi gave that contingent protection in Habasha and this state. So that is very much the part of our everyday life story in Pakistan, and people in Pakistan in connection with the Hijrat-e-Habsha knows this country very well.
What do you think we can do? Just is the fact that Ethiopia is a developing country, it's not a developed, but it's just trying to do its best.
Right.
And the government, the people, and the Pakistani people, the Pakistani government is also doing the same. But what do you think we are still in that state?
This is a little complicated question, and I would explain this phenomena of underdevelopment is everywhere in all the developing countries, whether it is Ethiopia, Pakistan, India, or any other country, you name it, which belongs to the category of developing countries, where people are still struggling to build their infrastructure and introducing new and innovative changes in their society. So by contrast, Pakistan and Ethiopia falls within the same bracket. Both countries are developing countries, and the nations are struggling hard to survive. But some countries have learned some skills better than the others. So I believe the point of isolation in which the Ethiopians remain for quite a longer period of time is the reason for little, what you can say, obscurity of your country. People know less about Ethiopia because Ethiopia remain for a quite longer period of time in isolation. So that isolation is continuing as a hallmark of your character. Once you will start opening up the country and bringing the people from outside to your country, the country, its goods, its positives and its negatives would be more visible to others. So far, because of the isolationist policy of the past, Ethiopian character is not very much vibrant and not very much visible to outside world. So I think the connectivity is the most important component where you can address the problem of isolation. And I think the Ethiopian Airways can play a miracle in removing this taint on the face of Ethiopia. So, and very luckily, Ethiopian Airways has been reaching to more than 100 destinations in the world. So people are getting aware of it. And likewise, Pakistan also. And you know that next week on Monday, the first flight, which will start from Addis Ababa, will connect to Karachi. And people are very eagerly waiting the advancement of relationship between the two countries through aviational linkages. I believe that once that aviational link will establish, people will start moving between the two countries frequently, and they will know each other better. And then the old impressions will wash away. And that is how, the connectivity can improve the image of a country. Second, as you just mentioned, the propaganda of certain media outlets, those who malign countries because of a certain, tags. For example, Islamophobia is one of the most important tags nowadays in the world. Certain media outlets and certain policymakers, they are creating a fear about Muslims, that they are not decent people, they are not civilized people. They are old fundamentalists, and their behavior is, very rustic. So these kinds of impressions are creating phobia against a certain group of people. And this should be forcefully opposed by all, that this is not, any association of religion should be the freedom, basic freedom of mankind. God has created every person, and God has not imposed any religion on them. He said that you are free to choose any religion. So if you are born in a Christian family, you will be a Christian. If you are born in a Muslim family, you will be a Muslim. So I think there should be no such distinction, and freedom of religion should be granted to all, and this is a fundamental right of every human being living on this planet. And even all United Nations charters and human rights bodies, they recognize this right. and we should also respect this right.
Well, Ambassador, let me take you to the Pakistan and Ethiopia Business Forum, which is being held in Pakistan. So delegation is in Pakistan. So tell us something about the forum.
Exactly, very important question. And I would say that people in Pakistan, especially the business people, they are waiting their business counterparts from Ethiopia. You must have remembered that 2 months before, a big delegation, about 100 plus people, they came from Pakistan to visit Ethiopia. And during their visit, they met with all dignitaries, including the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister and the Commissioner of Investments of Ethiopia. And they all welcomed the Pakistani delegation here and offered them a very good incentive to come and start investing in Ethiopia. And they apparently they were very happy, and they said that the opportunities are really very, very bright here. So I believe that they will start functioning, and negotiations between the Pakistani business people and here the authorities are going on. And this is in connection of that visit. Now the Ethiopian delegation is visiting Pakistan under the leadership of Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mekanen to Pakistan next week. And I hope that during that visit, the basic, the fundamental talks about establishing stronger economic relations will further be explored. And the people would know the potential of Pakistan, that what Pakistan can export to Ethiopia and what Ethiopia can export to Pakistan. So trading would be the topmost agenda. And second is likely investments from Pakistan in different sectors, particularly in textile and chemical sector. These are the two sectors in which Pakistan is self-sufficient. So Pakistani entrepreneurs are ready to invest in Ethiopia once they got all the green signals from the authorities here. I have no doubt that the people of the two countries would be very happy to find that this a new window, which is rather the gate to Africa for the Pakistanis, would soon be opened.
You've already mentioned slightly the impression of the Pakistani delegation in Ethiopia months ago. So can you tell us what they said that they are going to do just after observing the business opportunities here in Ethiopia?
Yeah, they visited this industrial parks here, and the government offered them in a number of incentives, particularly in agriculture sector. Pakistan is predominantly an agricultural country, and they have a lot of expertise in that particular sector. So they are ready to come here to take the land on lease and start plowing the land to produce more and more food, which is very essential for the survival of Ethiopia. Ethiopia, likewise, Pakistan is a big population, 110 million. We have a 220 million. So we have an experience how to feed people. And secondly, that from the investment perspective, this is very important, that from the business perspective, they want to ensure that their profit would be repatriated to their country. That was the main, the point where they keep the institutions engaged. And perhaps the Ministry of Economic Affairs would provide sufficient guarantees to them that the repatriation would not be a big problem for them. If this issue is resolved, the people from Pakistan will start coming investing here, because you have good opportunities by having a concessional agreements with the European Union and America. If those are active, then the Pakistani people would come here because the inputs are much cheaper here in comparison to Pakistan. And for example, the electricity, if you take electricity, is very expensive nowadays in Pakistan. It is touching around 15, 16 cents per kilowatt hours, whereas here in Ethiopia it is about 4 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's quite big margin for the business community. And then if the custom duties and taxes remain low, and they find an opportunity to sell their products in the European and American markets, definitely they would come here. It's a big pull factor for them.
Okay. So what's expected after the forum? I think the business relation between the two countries will further enhance and boost the business people. It can be just the platform to meet the business people from the two sides. So do you personally expect something from the forum?
I expect positive news from the forum, inshallah.
All right.
Yes.
To bring the two countries to the higher level in their relations, the two countries' embassies here in Addis Ababa and Islamabad have been doing a great, particularly the ambassadors, Ambassador Jamal Bakr there in Islamabad and you, Ambassador Shozab Abbas here in Addis Ababa. You have just done great. Can you tell us something about the role, the contribution of the two embassies?
When I came here, I met with the President Ziode for the presentation of my credentials, and then later I got opportunity to see the Prime Minister. And with these top two dignitaries of Ethiopia, I requested them that the government of Pakistan has entrusted me two main responsibilities in order to build stronger relations with Ethiopia. One was the establishment of your embassy in Islamabad, and second, the launching of airline between the two countries. Since the airline, Ethiopian airline, is one of the biggest airline in the world, if you miss Karachi or if you miss Pakistan, it means you are missing a market of 220 million people. So that clicked to the Prime Minister immediately, and he said that I will give an immediate instructions to the Ethiopian Airlines to work out that how they can start flight between the two countries. And secondly, in order to strengthen the political and diplomatic relations, he said that it is essential that Ethiopia must establish its embassy in Pakistan. So during the war, when there was a financial crunch here in Ethiopia, he closed down many embassies around the world. But he said that among that action, I would like to establish one embassy, only one embassy, and that was in Islamabad. So here you can understand that the Prime Minister's vision was very clear, that the relationship between Ethiopia and Pakistan should be strengthened. And my request was very timely request in his presence, and he said that I'm all out for it, I'm ready to build stronger relations with Pakistan, and he fulfilled his promise. So Ethiopia established his, now Ambassador Bakr is there, and he is doing a wonderful job in Pakistan and connecting with many people, and he also brought that big delegation from Pakistan to Ethiopia. So with the enhancement of these interactions, the relationship are definitely on the boost, and they are increasing, bolstering day by day. And I believe that in coming days, when the interaction between the two high political leaders will start between the two countries, it would further strengthen. Earlier, the leadership from Ethiopia and the leadership from Pakistan, they met outside Ethiopia and Pakistan, most likely in China during the forums of One Belt, One Road. But I wish that this interaction, like now the Deputy Prime Minister is going first time to Pakistan, so it would be a historical visit, and where the high leadership of Ethiopia is going to establish linkages with Pakistan, and in reciprocity, Pakistan will also definitely respond very positively to come and have a good relations with Ethiopia.
What is that? What is the best practice of Pakistan that the other countries can learn from, particularly Ethiopia? Can you tell us the best practice of the country Pakistan in any sectors, in agriculture, in technology, or in other tourism or other sectors?
It's very important. I would say that the experience of many of the developing countries is almost the same. It is a difference of 1920. But definitely some sectors are little better developed and some sectors are not. In Pakistan, the most established sector is agricultural sector. our entire industrial setup is based on agriculture. So that sector can provide a lot of inputs to the Ethiopian, Ethiopian market here. And I wish that the construction of this new dam, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, would start producing electricity and start producing irrigation network to expand the agricultural terrain, agricultural area in Ethiopia. Once that action would be triggered and started, I believe that Ethiopian development and progress would also start taking momentum. And Pakistan, exactly in 1960, when established two big dams like Gur Dam, the name of one is Tarbela and the second is Mangla. After the creation and development of these two dams, Pakistan also started producing a lot of electricity, energy, and spread that energy to the entire length of the country. So I think the basic infrastructure is essential for any development. And I believe that once this GERD will be fully operational in next couple of years' time, no one can stop Ethiopian progress.
What areas have you observed that the Pakistani investors or the investment can be engaged here in Ethiopia?
Textile is one of the leading industry because we are one of the leading textile manufacturer in the world. And second is the chemical industry. It's also one of the biggest. And now the emerging industry is automobile. And many automobiles are coming from Pakistan to Ethiopia in the form of rickshaws. You must have seen you call it Bajaj.
Bajaj,
because you are getting this automobile from Indian company Bajaj. And the name is also popular, Bajaj, as an auto rickshaw. But the real name is rickshaw.
Okay.
So rickshaw is also manufactured in Pakistan and being imported from Pakistan to Ethiopia. And the second is tractors. Okay. As the agricultural land will expand, you need tractors to level the land and for plowing and cultivation. So I believe that automobile, textile and chemicals, these are the three fundamental. And in the modern high-tech regime, if you see, then IT is a very flourishing sector in Pakistan, very flourishing. Okay. And I believe that your newly educated children in the sector of IT and our IT professionals and specialists, youngsters, boys, they can interact with each other and they can start learning from each other's experience to grow their personal, businesses.
So let me take you to the issue of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. As you know, the dam is the highest dam in Africa. As Pakistan has a great dam like Tarbela Dam. Can you say something about that, just considering the dispute between Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt?
Oh, good question. They're very close to my heart. In fact, Pakistan and India share their rivers together. And it was 1947 when Pakistan came into being. After 1947, India stopped our water, which was flowing to the Pakistani side. That created a havoc with our agriculture and with our population. Even the drinking water was not available at that time. So the situation was noticed by the World Bank, and they came to Pakistan with a certain proposals. And the government of Pakistan looked into those proposals and started working with the World Bank. And then finally, Pakistan, India, under the leadership of World Bank, they started creating an agreement. And the agreement is called Indus Basin Treaty, which was signed in 1960. That working on that treaty was started in 1950 and concluded in 1960. So it took 10 years to negotiate that how this water can be divided. But the division of water between the two countries happened by dividing the rivers. So they divided that waters into 3 and 3 plus 3. So 3 rivers were given to India and 3 rivers were given to Pakistan. Now the exclusive rights of those 3 rivers for the use of water were divided between India and Pakistan. Here, the river is one and it cannot be divided into 3 groups. So the flow is one and it is going down and down. The most important thing is that if you want to foster a very smooth relationship in the area of transboundary water flow, I would say that a very strong treaty should be signed between the three territorial countries like Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt. So I was saying that the treaty of 2015's principles of declaration, that was the foundation of a long-term treaty between Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt on the water of Nile. That was a very big milestone which the three governments have achieved. But I think one milestone is also needed to reach to the legally binding agreement where the dispute of all kinds can be resolved mutually. So that is the most important thing. In India and Pakistan's treaty, there is also a permanent Indus water commissioners, those who are responsible to handle the disputes whenever it arises. If the dispute is not sorted out by the commissioners, then it can be taken into the International Court of Arbitration or to the Third Empire. So the Third Empire can give a neutral, kind of verdict on any disputed issue. So same sort of resolution of disputes be also introduced here in Ethiopia in order to settle their disputes, upcoming disputes with Sudan and Egypt.
How do you see the peace efforts of the Ethiopian government? Just mentioning that the peace agreement in Pretoria between the Ethiopian government and the TPLF. I think you've been closely observing that, following that story. So how do you see that?
People of Pakistan congratulated, the Prime Minister of Pakistan congratulated to the government of Ethiopia on the successful achievement and conclusion of the agreement between TPLF and the government. The current agreement is active and it's implemented, and now the dispute has been gone. There is no war in the country. So I believe that the agreement has achieved the bare minimum where the peaceful conditions are now prevailing. Then at the second stage, the dialogue is also going on between the two groups, and I hope that dialogue will ultimately end into the unity of the country. That is very important. And as far as my information is concerned, TPLF has agreed to hold a new elections in Tigray. And if that elections takes place and the earlier elections which they held there in their province would be null and void as declared by the central government, and then in the result of that election the new government forms in the province, as well as their representatives will come and sit in the Central Assembly here in Addis Ababa, I think the rest of the political issues would also be resolved.
Well, Ambassador, I really appreciate your time for giving me this interview. One of the ones that's it for now, the Diplomatic Corner program. I've been sitting with the Pakistan ambassador to Ethiopia, Ambassador Shozab Abbas. I think you've got some understanding about the relationship between the two countries and other areas like investment and trade. Until I meet you next week, have a wonderful time.